There's cold, fairly bleak. People are very nice. A lot of beer, a lot of cheese. They like the Packers. Uh, and they like baseball for some fucking unknowable reason. Ideas for new games. Some other content creators I follow have periodically, weekly or so, polls in their Discord to pick up an activity for a particular day of the week, and in that day they'll give that a go. YouTube feedback. Background music is a bit too loud, maybe a bit too much work, but it's possible to link a timestamp for the full VOD. Maybe a bit too much work, but is it possible to link to the timestamp of the full VOD for context? Don't we do that? So this is another issue, which is no one ever leads descriptions. All right, that's an editor issue. I can talk to the editor about that. That's supposed to be in there. Link to full VOD. I don't want to link to Twitch VODs on YouTube particularly, but we can link to YouTube VODs on YouTube maybe. I got to think about how that looks, because the goal is to be able to do this, right? Like, we have a VOD channel. I just talked to the editor about this. He wasn't really understanding that I wanted literally every portion of the full stream up on the VOD channel. But the VOD channel exists exactly for this reason, right? Which is, if you go, shit, the highlight was interesting, or the highlight didn't really scratch my itch of what the hell's going on, you go check out the VOD channel and you get the full what the hell happened there. That's what the VOD channel is supposed to be. And that is solving the question, the complaint that people had of my channel, which is, if I upload everything, which a significant portion of people seem to want, then the people who don't want that get spammed to living hell on my channel with uploads. But if I only upload guide videos and recaps and summaries and whatnot, the people who want to watch all this stuff don't get to watch all this stuff. So the solution, YouTube doesn't really offer me a good enough system. I can't, for example, tag a video as a VOD and tag a video as a guide and have people only get notified and give people the option to only get notified on guides instead of VODs. There's no way to do that in YouTube. As a creator, I don't have the creative control over what you guys get flagged for when I release videos. So the solution was a second channel. So we have that second channel. Last video did not have your filthyrobot.tv link. Yeah, it did. Do you mean this thing here? That's fair. Good point. Good point. Okay. We need the website. Links there. Okay. This is good. This is good feedback. That too, if you guys don't know what this is this. And this is kind of okay. This is a modular website. Basically, any idiot can use it kind of thing that Streamlabs hosts for me. The biggest issue I have with this right now is actually what I want, right? This has when I'm going to be live. This has my channel. This has a donation link. This has a donation leaderboard. This has links to all of my social media, my Twitch, my Twitch, my Twitter, my Discord, my YouTube. This is what I actually really, really like on the website. The biggest issue I have with right now is this will not auto update. These are set to, this is supposed to be the most recent video on each of these pages, on each of the YouTube pages, so that anytime someone comes to this website, they'd be like, oh, this is what Filthy just released on his main channel, and this is what he's releasing on the VOD channel. But it will not auto update. And that's not on my end, that's on Streamlabs end. Until they fix this shit, this becomes a lot less useful to me. Also merchandise, also up here, all the stuff you could possibly want from my stuff, my game review, like my YouTubes, my Patreon, my game store, that's a work in progress that will be changed shortly. My Reddit, my Goodreads, my graduate work people have asked about. Like, this is supposed to be a website that's a one-stop website for all of y'all to find stuff that you want from me and to make it simple for that. And it kind of works, but it kind of doesn't. This is bothersome to me that doesn't work. Yeah, I have seen Destiny.gg. This is part of where I got that idea from, Shiro, because I actually like that too. But I can't afford to hire a web guy now it's just like, anyways, point being that this is a workaround that I get as being the streamer of the size I am working with Streamlabs. This is something they offer as a service, and this needs to be fucking fixed. And that's just on them. And I don't know when that will be. It doesn't seem like a very high priority thing for them to fix. You wish I could give an update on Twitter when you take a break. I always check when you don't stream, but there's nothing on when you aren't streaming. Yeah, I'm bad about Twitter. I remain deeply ambivalent to social media, and I understand that I need to be better with that. That's something I will continue to work on. I just don't think to tweet. And I'm also a really private person in general. So like when I'm doing like non-stream related activities, the last thing I think to myself is, holy shit, I wish to share this with everybody. So like it really, like I sat there for like this vacation I was on, right? Granted, the vacation I had a really shitty internet and I was sick for most of it. But there were multiple times in that I'm like, I should post something on Twitter about this. And then I'm like, nah, like this is a different part of my life. And then I don't know. So I'll have to think about that. Not think about it. I'll just have to do differently with Twitter. I'm bad at that. Twitter's a cesspool of filth. I like cesspools of filth. All right. So, okay. So QBE's feedback, I think, is pretty spot on. I appreciate hearing why people are interested in the channel because it lets me tailor content as well as get some understanding of that. Again, we have the bias of early responders to this as well as the bias of core fans responding most. So there are some issues with that. QB is in channel a lot. QB is a subscriber. So you are what I would consider one of my, the type of people who watch my content regularly. So we have that self-selection bias for people who are already positively predisposed to my stuff. Audio is a mystical and magical force that is not known by man or controllable by any effort on my part. That is something that is continue an issue. 2 seconds. This is literally a cloud booster, cloud lifter, cloud booster. I don't know which. Right here. It's currently not plugged in because I don't have a preamp that can run it. I didn't think it took additional power from a preamp, but it does. So I'm in the process of finding and purchasing a preamp, probably on recommendations of some person that I barely know just because I don't want to go through that fucking process. But audio continues to be an issue for me. So background music isn't on me though. That's on the editor again. This is feedback that is worthwhile posting. If you are listening to a VOD on my channel or a highlight video on my channel and you think it's the background music is too loud compared to the volume of me, that's on the editor. Say something to the editor. That's good feedback. And you can say, hey, Filthy, could you tell your editor that this is too loud or too soft or whatever else? The people who talk to me about social media, like Alkali Lake, for example, has a huge social media following, has said to me that I should post personal stuff, that people are mostly interested in a mix of personal and business related stuff. And I don't quite know how to engage with that yet. Yeah, exactly, Shiro. That's exactly the kind of thing I mess with, mentally think about. Do I have any Hall of Fame Civ 5 games you can remember? I used to have a Hall of Fame video playlist on my channel, which I stupidly took down one day, and we've never recovered from that. The answer is there's a lot of good games, but you're going to have to find different ways to find them. Probably have to ask in some of the various Filthy robot interfaces. Okay. Pinged in a private message in Discord. Thanks, man. Well, yeah, Mark. I'll respond to that in Discord a little bit later. I should get on Instagram. I should double up on the amount of social media that I don't post on. I should add. I mean, did you guys not see this? Like, really, Shiro? You think I need another thing that I need to like collect for people in terms of this? You don't think think of my online presence right now and all the shit we could be doing and don't be doing. Where's this? This is not that. This is the one. So you think in addition to 2 YouTubes, a Patreon, a game store, a Reddit, a Goodreads, the graduate work stuff, a Twitch, a Discord, a Twitter, and the actual live stream, think I also need Instagram? What am I posting on Instagram? Mostly dick pics, I assume? See what I'm saying? I don't know if we can realistically add another venue for that. Dick pics would get me banned. Well, what kind of shitty site is it? All right. I appreciate that you do with games exactly what you're doing with this video. Min-maxing, starting with the assumed ways of doing things, but over time testing and thinking them through to create a more cohesive and thought-out method of playing. That's nice feedback. In terms of a game to play, Disco Elysium. I'd love to see you deal with that insanity. Yeah, as I said, I don't know how to turn that off. And thankfully, it's one of those things that seems to serve me relatively well in life, and I don't really wish to turn off. So I appreciate the viewers who like watching me for that, because that's essentially what defines me. Honestly, a Reddit page would be better. I have a Reddit page. We just never do anything with it, because it becomes one of these deals of like, well, I don't know what else to say. I'm releasing videos and I'm streaming, and I do those fairly regularly. Do you want me to post about each of these in a Reddit forum? Like, am I just posting my random thoughts about shit? I'm a busy guy, dude. I do stuff when I'm not streaming. Premium Snapchat? Yeah. Maybe one day. Let's hope not. That probably means the channel's not doing real well if it comes down to that. Battletech has changed a lot since your first playthrough. There's a career. Oh, okay. We started with this comment, right? So we'll skim those because we started with that one on stream, but then I fucked up touching something and we went back to the top. Read that one. Okay. I think we hadn't got down here yet. I think this was the last one we read. Is that right? I like your humor. You're good at strategy games. Your guide videos are fun to watch, even for games I don't play. How's the Patreon going? Not that well. Would expanding that help somehow? Yes. But the issue with Patreon is initially I spent some serious amount of effort thinking about rewards and things that I could do that were maintainable long-term for me. And you think about when you design systems, I'm okay with putting upfront effort into something, but I don't want to build a bunch of things that would take a lot of maintenance effort, because you do that, you suddenly run out of time, because every day you're expected to do 25 fucking things that you don't want to be doing regularly. So what I tried to do with the Patreon stuff was think of things that I could do, and I had basically monthly rewards for Patreon was the idea. But people just weren't interested in the monthly rewards. And what it seemed to boil down to were essentially either those rewards weren't very interesting for people, or people who wanted to support me directly through Patreon were supporting me because they wanted to support me, not because they were expecting rewards. And I don't know what that's done. I don't know what that means in terms of what do I do as a content creator for things on Patreon. The best idea I've heard thus far has been release things on Patreon first, but YouTube doesn't really interface well with Patreon with that. It isn't a great way to do that I've seen yet. Okay. Small thing, don't call them donations, reasons you're not against charity. Preferably you should call it a tip, since essentially it's someone giving you money, rewarding you for your service, not donating for a good cause. I mean, that is clearly semantics. I'm not sure I agree. I've always disliked tip. Feels like, I don't know, tip is like a service provided, right? And again, we have a business relationship, but I'm pretty sure your end of the business relationship is to engage with the content you like from me. If you think to yourself, I would like to help support him, that's a donation to keeping me doing this. I don't really see that as a tip is a service related thing, right? You're tipping someone because their service has been exceptional. I'm not in a service industry. I mean, I'm in an entertainment industry. So I don't know if I buy that. The semantics doesn't ring true to me. So yes, Xanadu, ideas for that would be good. This is on our long-term list of Tom and I to work with, is revamping the Patreon, but I don't know what that looks like, and I don't have enough information to move forward with that. Ever played Binding of Isaac? I haven't. Distinction without a difference? Possibly. Donations can be deducted from taxes, tips can't. I don't think I get to deduct any of that from. I always report Twitch donations as income, not as tips, and not as donations. They don't get deducted as far as I know. Maybe I'll talk to Mark and see if that's a true thing. That'd be great if I could take donation money and have that count against taxes as opposed to count as income.
A new subscriber arrives. It fills you with determination.
Thank you, Postal 1982. Thanks for the sub. Okay. I'm not a charitable organization. I'm a business. I don't know what I am. I think I'm in some legal gray area. But I don't know. Okay, let's keep going. I like your thought process behind games and mechanics and min-maxing those. May be better in various other games too. IMO, this works best for strategy players since those are designed to put the players to... Oh, we've read this one too. Okay. All right, chat, have we read this one? I cannot remember. So I started reading these before stream, skimmed some of them and was like, okay, this is so much that I think we're going to do it on stream. And I started some of them on stream. Can you guys tell me if this one's been done on stream yet? This one right here. I can tell you why I don't watch your RPG game content. No, I'll message you directly in Discord, Mark. If, as I said, I don't think legal advice through Twitch chat is where I want to be. Although legal advice from legal professionals who happen to be in Twitch chat is something that I could possibly engage with. Okay. All right, let's assume this one is new then. I can tell you why I don't watch your RPG game content. I look for your channel specifically because I like deep strategy. Not only can I just look at what you spend your time on with passion as advice to what to play next, not only can I just look at what you spend your time on with passion as advice for what to play next. That needs more to that sentence. Had hours of fun with Civ 5, Darkest Dungeon, Battle Brothers, and more thanks to you. I can also often make my own spreadsheets in Theorycraft. However, given it's not my full-time job to play games or just skill, but nobody will ever admit that, I hardly ever come up with as good as gameplay strategy as you. So often I use your guides to validate myself on what to do right and what to do wrong in a detailed manner, and what I do wrong in a detailed manner. No other channel provides that. While RPGs are good, fun games, and have some strategy and builds to them, they are rarely complex. It's more about just finding one broken thing, and instead of watching an in-depth video like the ones you make, I get the best build from a wiki page and immediately understand why it's good. Having played EVE Online and WoW on a very involved level for many years makes every RPG, MMO or not, just pale to me in comparison in terms of strategy and complexity. Yeah, it seems to be a recurring theme, right? Which is that people watch my channel for depth of game and expert advice from that, and RPGs do not really translate well to that. By the way, chat, YouTube is a weird place to read comments. People post for a variety of reasons. Mostly these comments are fairly good comments quality-wise, because this is me soliciting feedback and people who care typing feedback. And these people sometimes are native English speakers and often are not. So I try not to be too hung up on any of that shit. Witcher 3 playthrough right now might actually do well since the show came out. I didn't know the show had been released. I mean, I'm interested in it. I'm interested in touching all the good games that I haven't played, and I know that was one of them. That was pretty good. Also, people seem to... Also, I think some of these are typed on like mobile devices, typed on their phone, etc. So the Tyranny playthrough was awesome. Too bad it didn't get a lot of views. I think that's a minority opinion on the channel. I had fun with Tyranny, but remember, Tyranny was one of the ones I did offline, right? I did this as a YouTube video because my assumption was essentially that the Twitch would not be a good medium to play an RPG because you get cut up into these little tiny blocks and there's no context for that. So releasing it as a video playthrough was good. But the problem was, A, the views were pretty bad, and B, YouTube doesn't pay very well, and C, I'm committing to spending large portions of my life creating content on Twitch. Where do I find the time to then do offline playthroughs of games? My answer to some of your questions probably comes down to how I like to consume content on YouTube. I find a game and then look for content around that game, rather than just following a YouTuber and watching everything they play. I mainly watch your content due to the detailed explanations on the mechanics of the games you play. I think I first found your channel after seeing someone play Darkest Dungeon, gave it a go myself, then wanted to know how to get better at the game. Other streamers either say do X, Y, Z to win, or they don't know what they're doing and generally just throw things together for comedy value. Whereas you were showing more along the lines of how to build a party and things you need to do to cover while doing so, with an explanation of why it's worth doing. Damage projection to all ranks so you can aim for stress enemies first, etc. Same thing now with Battle Brothers, which I'm trying to get more into. I knew you played it, and therefore I knew there would be good content on your channel, which helps explain some of the mechanics so that I can enjoy the game more. This might be a personal thing to me, as others will enjoy working all the things out for themselves. For me, though, with limited time to get into games, I don't want to be told this is exactly what you should be doing in order to win the game, etc. But learning the mechanics just saves a lot of time consuming trial and error. See, this to me is how I characterize what I do on my channel as well. I do this for a living. I have a huge amount of time to devote to gaming compared to the average gamer. And that what I'm trying to do is show you guys is to distill content and go, this stuff's really cool and really fun, and there's a lot of cool ways to engage with it, and here's some of the things you can do to do that well and do that efficiently. And to me, like that, this is like a match between what I'm trying to provide and what he's consuming. So problem is echo chamber stuff, right? Like this is also one of the first people to respond. This person took a lot of effort and thought in responding to this, and that's good. That reaffirms some of my thoughts and my thinking about the channel, but I'm always a little bit worried that I'm hearing a minority opinion expressed vocally. This would also answer why I haven't seen much of your RPG stuff like Outer Worlds. I don't have a huge interest in that game, and with limited time these days to watch stuff or game myself, I don't really watch it. I'm saying that though, when I get round to playing Pillars of Eternity, I will come to your channel for the detailed explanations that I know will be in the content. Due to the way I described how I consume YouTube content, I'm not sure how you structure playing and streaming games, but have you thought about selecting a game or two and then alternating which games you play it, which days you play it? I didn't think very much of this suggestion. I read this comment earlier. I'll talk about why in a minute. This will allow you to stretch out games a bit further and create a kind of fake grind. Instead of playing and completing a game in a short space of time, you can complete 2 games over a longer period. Obviously, it would work out the same time playing one game after the other was finished, but if you did 2 different types of games, RPG one day and strategy the next, it would potentially hit 2 different audiences at the same time, and some would stay for the other content. You could also have a day left over where you do a variety stream or even a game that has been just released. If you play something like The Witcher 3 now, I think you would mainly be relying on your core fans to watch, as the game has been out for a long time. The content is already there. There's no real math mechanics for you to explain better than the other people, and due to the Netflix series, more people are streaming it now. The game doesn't really have anything you personally can do to make it stand out, to make you stand out. So you would be playing mainly for the enjoyment, in my opinion. But if you had a variety day when streaming, you could put it in there. When Cyberpunk comes out, people will be hammering that on streams and YouTube, so maybe you could turn that into your mainstream and have the variety day as an RPG or strategy game, etc. This avoids chasing the hype, as it seems like a game you want to play, but you also have your variety in there. By having different games on different days, you can also go back and revisit the games you want to. Maybe you could spend a little time getting a big list together, ask viewers what they want to play, and then put it to the vote. You can then have a quick check of the game, and if you don't want to play or think it isn't a great streaming game, then move on to the next one and put that in a pile to be checked again at a later date. I haven't had time to watch all your videos, so apologize if I covered something you said or things you already do. Also found it refreshing to hear your views on the grind. Find it a bit off-putting when some streamers refer to their content like that, as it looks like they think they are doing us all a favor by making videos, and this has become a chore to them, but they have to because of the demand. I also dislike that. I'm not sure that alternating day by day will make any difference whatsoever. I mean, the kind of cleaner way to do that is to do like so let's say I do an 8-hour stream or 6-hour stream, is take the first 4 hours and devote it to whatever our primary game is, and then take the last 2 hours to try something different, right? And we've tried this. There's a couple issues I find with splitting streams, either by a day-to-day basis or a same-day basis. And the first is I have a hard time mentally changing gears to do that, especially with some of the depths of stuff. Like Frostpunk is a perfect example of this, right? Right now we're in the refugee scenario in Frostpunk. It's extremely difficult, and it's difficult in one of these manners that I find not a particularly enjoyable difficulty, which is you must do these things in this order at this time perfectly in sequence for a long sequence of things to get past it. And anytime you mess up what that looks like, so you choose option B when you needed to choose option A, you're screwed and you have to restart. Now, the issue with that is mentally what I'm doing as a gamer with that is I'm organizing these things, iterating off of them to be like, okay, that didn't work. We need a bit more food now. We have to build this slightly later because we don't have the wood, etc. And that is a really CPU intensive, brain intensive set of compositions, right, of what you're doing with that. And changing, if you switch gears and go, I'm going to try another game of the same complexity or difficulty right afterwards with that, you kind of have to ramp up and get to that again, right? So it's tricky to do that for me. It doesn't really fit my interest patterns well. I tend to be like a serial monogamist when it comes to games, right? Where I'm like, I really want to play this game again, play this game, play this game, this game. Okay, I'm done with this game, next game. So I do like people thinking on this, because I'm thinking on this as well, which is how do I fit in having a main game with wanting to check out other games? How do I fit in content that's a little bit off the main type of content I produce on a channel while getting to play it? And maybe it is going back to something like us with a 6-hour stream, taking 4 hours for a main game and 2 hours for another game, especially if the 2 hours for another game is not a min-maxy game. Maybe that's what the RPG stuff fits in best, right? Where If I only play 2 hours of an RPG in a day as opposed to 6 hours, then viewers have the chance in between streams to catch up on that in a meaningful way because they're not devoting 6 hours to watching VOD content. They're devoting an hour and a half or 2 hours to that. It might also be okay if I go from a complex game to a less complex game. That might be a reasonable way to do things like that. And it might be okay if that game, for example, if the complexity is less because it's something like a story-driven game. It's fairly interesting. Morning and afternoon game is, I don't know. I've heard that suggested too, like doing a split stream in the morning, take a break, stream in the evening. The problem with that is I don't know how you build a life when you're split streaming like that. Like, where is your rest of your time spent? Like, you just have like that 4 hour block. Like, let's say you stream in the morning for a couple hours and you take like a 4 hour break and you stream in the evening. Doesn't that fuck up like the portion of your day, like period, like constantly? Like, I think there were some jobs like I've had in the past or friends have had in the past. Like, I had a friend who would do work like lunch and then come back for like 2 hours and then go back and work dinner as a waiter. And like, he never got anything productive done in those 2 days to me that I see. Do you feel like you could take a non-strategic approach to an RPG game? I don't know. Maybe with some artificial restrictions on that, like chat chooses the character class I play. Maybe I could do something like that. I could engage with the story. Do I really want to play RPG games in the first place? I want to be able to play all good games that have come out. Yeah, that's my take on it, Xanadu, is that's probably not how I want to structure life. But maybe like if I do, if I keep streaming in a block like I'm planning on, maybe if I take a segment of the end of that block to do something different, that might be okay, especially if I'm going down in complexity. I think going up in complexity, that's always going to be problematic. I'm drained at the end of a stream. And yesterday, for the first time in streaming in 2 weeks, I like finished my stream and like Nerf Fox was wanting to talk to me about some of the thoughts he had about the system we're building for integrating viewer suggestions, and I was like dead. I'm like, I don't want to talk about this right now. I don't want to do any more thinking. I just want to fucking collapse and relax for a couple hours. Like, it takes a lot out of you being on and engaging. And I don't mean like personally like I'm so fucking great and engaging, but I mean like actively from your perspective as the streamer attempting to be engaging and be engaged for that period of time. It's draining, and I like that in general. I don't mind that. It's not like it's not a complaint about it, but I do want to acknowledge my own limitations. And I don't want to be building structures that assume that I'm more capable of doing something than I actually am, because it just puts me further and further behind if I do that. You prefer single block to split streams. It does take a while to build up viewer count QBE. Viewer count is also somewhat subservient to time of day, etc. And there are better times to stream than other times. And it also, people tend to tune out, like log off, stop watching when you switch games to games they're not interested in. But certainly we could consider some evening style games for some RPGs maybe. What do you feel about having a day where you do more community engaged activity, like playing a game on a tabletop simulator with other people? I worry about the viewer engagement with that, but I'm not against trying something like that. What games are you thinking of having as relaxing wind down? I don't know. I suspect I want to go complex to less complex, not less complex to equally complex, or rather not complex to equally complex. Was there more in this that I wanted to address? Yeah. Okay. I think that addressed that comment. Response to your state of the channel video, posted on the Eratus video, strangely. Right off the bat, 20 hours invested. Whoa, you could break that up into like 3 videos minimum. What? You kind of lumped your points into one. Yes, I made 1 video reviewing a game. 1, first look, blind, first time playing. 2, review before and after 20 hours invested. 3, things you'd like to see improved in the game going forward. Certainly this is useful information. And telling people it's a first look is useful information. I don't know that review before and after 20 hours tells you anything. You're not an expert at a game in 20 hours unless the game is super simple. I see it as, it was difficult for me to find the Eratus video. This was the comment I was talking about. I don't know how to make this more easy to find. My game review videos are in a single playlist with Filthy's First Look at the front of them, which is a searchable term that you can search for, and on the front page of my YouTube with the label game reviews. So I don't know how he had difficulty finding that. I don't know how to, or rather, I don't know how to make it easier for him to find that. But if you made 4 videos, maybe you could improve the odds of one being found, and I would likely watch all 4 since I'm pretty excited about this game, and hopefully that might yet improve. Maybe it might catch the attention of developers well. This is interesting, though, because this is what I read this as someone who is not a regular viewer of my content, who is looking specifically for Radis content, found my video, found my State of the Channel video, and then responded to my State of the Channel video. Which is nice, because what this actually represents is a perspective we don't get very often, or haven't gotten much in these comments yet, which is someone not in that, I keep calling it an echo chamber, that might be harsh, not in the first responders of a call for commentary like this. But like you said, you know your content and your longer videos have been more successful. I still want your depth. I've recently fallen in love with your YouTube playlist, so maybe that was a wrong consideration then. Instead of 4 video playlists for your game reviews, maybe each game should have a playlist, and if I want to watch a few, I will. But to be honest, I'm going to start at the top of an Eratus playlist and watch every goddamn video in it. You get me? Binge that shit. Thanks for the great content. So yeah, I don't know. I think I disagree with that, which is I wanted to do the point behind the first look and game review videos that we've been doing is this. I want to continue to be a variety streamer. I want to be able to distill my thoughts briefly on a game that I played for a chunk of time but have not invested a million hours into. I can't do an in-depth game review of a game that I haven't put a billion hours, or excuse me, I can't do in-depth guide videos of a game I haven't put a billion hours into, because I'm not an expert. And people again and again say, we come to your channel because we want to see the expert content that you're putting out on it. We like the in-depth way that you've analyzed it. We like the strategies you've come up with. We like seeing the really hard stuff broken down in an accessible manner. You can't do that without becoming an expert at something. And you can't become an expert at something without time. So these are the games that the first review stuff, the first look stuff is games that I've started on, and maybe I like them, maybe I don't, maybe I'm gonna continue with them, maybe I don't, but I wanna produce content about them now, before I'm an expert, because otherwise it becomes this really awkward issue of I can never release good content about something until I've played a billion hours in it, but I have to spend a billion hours first before I can release something about a video on a game that's come out now. So this is my kind of semi-solution to, I want to be able to give you my initial thoughts on a game as it's come out. And these are editing intensive videos, these videos. So these are not videos that I can easily make on my own. And this has been a huge issue with my lack of editors this year, with my fight to find editors, is we've done a number of other games along the way that I wanted to provide feedback on. And let me just fire up just one more Chrome window over here. I think I can do it off screen here. So like some of the other games, do I have it still listed here? I might have given up on it. I wanted to do a review video of Crying Suns. I wanted to do a review video of Mistover. I wanted to do a review video of RimWorld. I wanted to do a nostalgia video about EVE Online. I wanted to do a review video of Warsaw. These were all ones that I wanted to do first impression review guides on. But because I was in this process of fucking struggling to find an editor who would be consistent, show up, do the work, stay with me, understand my stuff, I was not able to do that. So this is a work in progress, and this will get better, because I want to be able to, as we jump into games for a couple days on a stream or maybe a week or two and then move on, I want to be leaving this first look review stuff on stream for you guys to be like, hey, Filthy's checked out Warsaw and I was a little bit interested in that game. Is it something I might like? And you get to hear me talk for 20 minutes about the things I liked about it, things I didn't like, and see some gameplay footage and hear what I think the limitations or benefits of that game are. That's what this is supposed to be. So we'll see if that works a little bit better now that I have a competent editor on staff. Yeah, Shiro. I told you in private chats, and I'll restate it here. I'm up for trying that maybe next weekend. Shiro, checking out Star Citizen on stream. It's certainly a game that has been on my radar for a long time. I just worry that it's massively overhyped. All right. So I like the first look videos, and I think it's something that I wish to continue going forward with, and hopefully with the new editor, we'll be able to do that, and hopefully they'll be useful to you guys, because again, I think a lot of the engagement with my channel is based on my utility to you guys. And I think a lot of my enjoyment of the stuff I put out is the utility that you guys find and express in having that. So, all right. Hi, Filthy. I'm a long time lurker of your content. I've been watching your videos for several years, and like many others have mentioned, it was the Civ 5 games that drew me in and are by far the videos I've watched the most. And I think they resonated with me because, perhaps like you, I'm someone who likes to do something all in or not at all. And your Civ 5 videos very much took that approach, i.e. not a casual approach, as you put it. I can understand not wanting to get back into Civ 5 at this stage and not wanting to use your expertise and renown in that game as a crutch. And I think people should be able to understand and respect that. Though if you ever did decide to get back in, I'd be very happy. I can only offer what I've noticed in my own viewing habits and why I don't necessarily engage with the other videos at the same extent. This is a very nice way of saying, I would love it if you made more Civ 5 content, but I understand that if you're not going to. That's a very nice way of saying that. Civ 5, easy to drop in and out of all the videos, banter and interaction with the other players, including the saltiness when things go wrong. One of my favorite moments in your Civ 5 playlist was the moment that you and Cole Jones were both racing to settle Lake Victoria. I think you were the Shoshone, and you were speaking about getting an adrenaline rush when spamming the settle key. It's a weird point to raise as a highlight, but it's one of those niche relatable things that always stuck with me and made me laugh. But in general, it offers a good balance of solo play and team speak. During certain games of Civ 5, I sometimes see that you get into something akin to a flow state. JRE reminisce. I don't know what JRE is. This Joe Rogan? The Joe Rogan Experience reminiscence. He often talks about this. So I did some of my graduate work on flow state. Anyways, this is where you are so wired into the game and thinking out loud while problem solving and decision making, which makes for content that's energizing to watch, even when the content of that game is in particular might not be the most interesting from a pure gameplay perspective. Civ 5 was more approachable to watch as the starting formula is normally more or less the same, but then as the game would continue and you would explore the lands available / the other ways players are operating, this would bring in the diversity in your decision making and gives you something to talk through to us as the viewer, both in terms of rationales and frustrations. I do miss this. This is one of the things I miss most about not playing multiplayer games at the moment is I miss the human interaction in that. It's always more fun to beat human opponents than computer opponents for two reasons. The first is they tend to be better opponents. And the second, like learning, reacting, adapting, bluffable, human interaction stuff on it. And second, it's much more rewarding to beat players because players react to being beaten where computers just die. So this to me is, thank you for that feedback, Catherine. I like hearing positive feedback in general, but I meant in the sense that I hope those are valuable videos, the first look videos, and I want to create more of those. So I miss this too. This is one of the things that I like about Crowfall. There's some banter involved in that. There's some human interaction in that. I don't know how well that will translate because you're mostly not interacting with your opponents. You're mostly interacting with your allies, which is a slightly different experience. But this is also one of the reasons why I like having Joe on my streams when I play Magic, is I like having another person to kick back and forth with. This is one of the things I really miss about D&D, right? Is I miss the banter and interactions of other smart, interesting, funny people like Jorbs and Dolphin who I can interact with on this. And I haven't found an answer to that. But this was on my list of things I wrote down from the feedback on this. This was something else that I would like to continue to think about is how to get the interaction element on the stream from time to time. Thanks, Roganish. All right, RPGs. Personally, I find it more difficult to drop in. And by the way, this type of comment, it's daunting to look at in terms of the amount of text here, but this is a really, really thoughtful comment. This is someone who's listened to my request for information, taken the effort to think through their thoughts, format it, write it out in a reasonably cohesive way, and give me that feedback. That's a fucking huge ask for people. I don't grant this request very often. Someone asks me to leave the comments below. I ignore that 99.9% of the time. Or maybe sometimes I'll start responding to someone and I'll start writing it up and be like, fuck, this is a lot of work to write this up. Fuck that. So this is a really, really thoughtful comment in terms of the effort they put into responding to this. And I really appreciate that. This is part of the reason why I wanted to do this on stream this morning is because I got such a huge response to this. It's a bit humbling sometimes, right? The engagement that people have with this is a bit humbling. So I appreciate that a lot. Personally, I find it more difficult to drop in and drop out when watching RPGs. When only coming in to watch a couple of hours of your content a week, things like Battle Brothers seem quite impenetrable and feels to me like I'd have to put in too many hours to really get invested, though I understand this is not the same for everyone. And it also doesn't allow for the same degree of choice or optimization. This might be my own ignorance, but to me, and especially in a non-multiplayer setting, it feels like whatever decision you make in most RPGs, you'll be more or less fine, and that can make the narratives, rationales that guide your decision-making less critical and more superficial. And this is one of the elements that always sets you apart as a content creator for me. Yeah, we hear this theme shows up a lot in the comments, doesn't it? RPGs are not what we watch your channel for, because the stuff that we like about you are not reflected in RPGs. This is also true. This is the QBE comment, which I agree with, which is that it's harder to watch something in a small block that requires context to be relevant or interesting. Kind of a pessimistic outlook on what that means for RPGs in my channel.
Streamer who is thoughtful and looking for feedback.
Thank you, Amara. I appreciate that. All right, chat. I've been talking for nearly 2 hours right now. I have water in front of me and I'm drinking coffee. I need to refill my coffee. Take a second to down this this of water, and then I'll take a quick break, give some of that water back, and then we'll keep going with this. I hope you guys are enjoying this. This is a little bit different, but I really wanted to do this morning. There's a lot of really interesting feedback here, and I wanted to talk about this on channel. I hate the last couple months of streaming for me. I feel like I've been blocked by the amount of content I have available and perpetually worried about the impact of that on my viewership and the stuff that I'm doing. So we're back in just 2 minutes here, a couple seconds. All right, I'm back. Just checking up on chat. Okay, let's keep going. So we talked about this one. I'm not trying to tell you to go back to Civ 5 or else, but instead just trying to highlight from a viewer perspective why I found it easy to engage with your Civ 5 content and why I'm less engaged with the other content, in the hope that this might prove useful when choosing new games. And this is a very, very good way to give that feedback. He's done an excellent job of not making me feel like he's like, play Civ 5, while still telling why he enjoyed engaging with the Civ 5 stuff. Sorry to hear that your viewership is down. I imagine it's tough having that playing on your mind. It is tough playing that on your mind. It fucking sucks ass. I almost don't like having the feedback of knowing my viewer count number in channel, except that it's also useful feedback knowing that. You're an intelligent guy, and I'm sure you already know all this, but it seems to me like you're doing all the right things by getting your infrastructure right with the editor and community manager, and by engaging with your audience in videos like this to communicate and collaborate to the best route forward. That's my thought on this, right? Like long-term benefits to the channel, like building infrastructure, seem really, really relevant, and investing in those when I can seems very good. It's expensive to have an editor. It's expensive to have a community manager. These things are not costs that I take on lightly, but I think it is going to make better content from my perspective, and better content from my perspective probably means long-term investment in the channel because I'm providing a better service that people are interested in. That's my rationale on it. From that end, I'm happy to give any content you put out a chance, though aware this doesn't mean much. I hope that 2020 is a great year for the channel and brings you what you're hoping. This is a really fucking phenomenal comment. Gives me the feedback I asked for while presenting it in a respectful way. This is just a really well-written comment. If you guys want to think about how to respond to people thoughtfully on YouTube, fucking model it after this. This is really good. You asked why someone might not like to watch you play an RPG. I can only speak for myself, but I suppose I'll give you my take. Generally, I'm not much of a fan of watching any streamer let's play or play RPGs, but there are exceptions. I think because RPGs are generally so narrative, I'd only really enjoy a certain personality's reaction towards it. Someone with a sense of childlike wonder, I guess. Dan Abaddon, who I don't know, springs immediately to mind for the type of personality that fits RPGs for me. I really enjoy your content. I think your personality matches strategy games perfectly due to your deep dive approach, something Dan Abaddon would lack completely. I would probably love to see you stream any DCCG. I don't know what that means, DCCG. CCG is collectible card game. I don't know what D stands for there. I hope you take no offense. Again, I almost never seek out RPG content anyway, lol, just my 2 cents. Nope, no offense taken from that. This is the type of feedback I want to know about. Get his Twitch and I'll gift him a sub. I don't know how to do that, man. You can reply to his comment and tell him that if you want, Shiro. But where do you see myself expanding to content and channel wise? I would like to see expansion. I don't know if I'll see expansion, honestly. What do I see myself expanding to? Do you mean where will I go forward with on terms of content creation? I will continue to do the things that I think are good for my channel and the things that I enjoy doing. Deep engagement with strategy games is one of them. I would like to get back into a multiplayer realm if possible. I'm hoping for something like a deep MMO to be interesting, and Crowfall has a lot of strategy that I really, really like right now. I want to keep going with the first look videos. I think that is a valuable service I could offer. I play a lot of variety streams on the channel, and be able to help you guys kind of get that first pass at a game without buying it to see if it's something you might like or enjoy, I think is useful. And I think the in-depth, very deep strategy guides of games that I'm passionate about are useful. I think it's more of a it's not what do I wish to expand to, it's how do I more consistently produce that content. And the way to more consistently produce it, from my thought from this, is by better selecting where those matches are going to be in terms of gaming content. And some of that is what we're working on right now. That's my next project, is basically a system to force that shit into the forefront of my gaming experience now, right? Selecting for and finding the games that I can do those things with, the type of content you guys like watching, the type of content I like creating. You know, if every day I woke up and I was just like, you know, I don't know how to describe this. Sometimes I can't sleep at night because what's going through my head is a rehash of some of the things in the game. I constantly these days, how do I say this? I constantly these days am narrating videos. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys. Maybe as content creators, you don't do this as much, but I'll be sitting on an airplane thinking about something, and I'll be crafting the structure of a video talking about the feedback for this, or how to present this system, or thinking about visually. Like the other day in Crowfall, I went around and recorded a couple like super high bird's eye shots of forts and keeps in that game, because what I want to be able to do, I was thinking, well, how do I talk about the intricacies of this particular siege on this ship, on this fort? And it's not going to make any sense to the viewers visually being at the ground level. But what if I could take a bird's eye photo of that, and as I explain what we're doing on the ground's eye, I could cut to a portion where it's a bird's eye shot of the keep, and I can draw arrows like NFL style, like, oh, we're gonna, you know, this guy's gonna be coming in from the side here as another force reaches over here. This will split them on a 180 or 180 degrees, so they can't defend both simultaneously. That type of thing. Like that's what goes on in my head when I'm traveling these days, and I like that. But that requires a game I'm engaged with. And I think part of how I make better content then is I perpetually find games that I can be engaged with. He made the comment, no idea how to find it from YouTube. Yes, I think. Maybe. Life. So wasn't it Jacob? I not search my name? Son of a bitch. Maybe I could search by content. Nope. Really? You can't text match for that? 3 dots under the comment. You can find it. You can just scroll through this particular video. Shiro is probably the best way to do that. That's the only thing I can say to that. All right. Let's keep going. Oh, we read that one, right? All right. What makes your channel stand out to me is that you articulate very well your thoughts, be it in strategy games or when giving your opinion about games. You go into depth, and it's very rare when people can do this while remaining fun to watch. Also, I tend to enjoy the same games as you do. So if you like one, I'll check it out. Discover Battle Brothers like that, for example. Trying lots of games and going deep, and when you hit one is what you love. Hit one that you love seems like a good strategy to me. Yeah, this is what I'm doubling down on. This is what I think. If I distill why I think people watch me and what they're watching for, I think it's this. That's my suspicion. And that's what I put forth in this state of the channel video and what I want feedback on. So if you are someone who that's not true of, please post that. Please take the second to go to YouTube and be like, nah, I watch you because I like watching pale redheads who are slowly dying of skin cancer. Or, maybe it's, mostly I'd enjoy riling you up in chat and watching you respond to that. Those are fine. If that's the reason for it, let me know so I can at least figure out how I wish to integrate that information and have that as what it is. Yeah, I'll check out your comment after Zen, but I want to get through the list that's here before I refresh the list. Okay. This game is my wish. This game is in my wish list, and definitely it's weird that we got another post on Filthy's first look on Eratus. Weird. I wonder if that's recommended videos doing work. This game is in my wish list, and definitely appreciate your review. For me, you're the first person covering the game, and from your videos about Battle Brothers and Darkest Dungeon, I have a good idea of your perspective and can trust your thoughts on the subject. I would like to build that. I would like to continue to build that. I'd like people to be like, hey, we've seen the stuff that you really get involved with, and these games are really good. And when you say that a game has potential but isn't there yet, or say that a game is crap, or say the game is good, I'll trust that because we have a past record of being a good judge of that. I would like to build that up more. I wish the game developers would consult with you to help improve the game before it releases and obviously pay you. I think it must be a very thankless job developing games, and I want no fucking part of it. I get asked that from time to time. Well, do you eventually want to become a game developer? No, if I want to become a game developer, I would become a game developer. I want to play games and enjoy them, and I like my job. And there is some overlap. I'm happy to interface with game developers, but I'm not sure I can point out, I'm better at pointing out flaws or pointing out what the system pushes you into than I am at redesigning a system or thinking how to change that. Like my dad, I used to joke with my dad about this, right? Like I'm good at figuring out the best way to solve something in a box. I'm less good about thinking of like all the other ways we could add things to that box to make it better or worse. I watched The Darkest Dungeon. How good is the hero videos and the tips and tricks things? That's literally all I know from you. These videos taught me a hell of a lot about the game. I'm not interested in watching people play stream games. I can only speak to myself, but that's why I watch your stuff. Yep, here for the guide videos. That's fine. Lots of my viewers watch my guide videos and pretty much only my guide videos, and that's fine. I'm happy to make the guide videos. I like making guide videos. It's super fun for me. Hi Filthy, just thought I'd add my 2 cents here as a long-term viewer. I think one of the additional things which makes you successful when you stream is when you interact with other people, so that brings out your personality, adds interest to viewers. Again, this is another comment of that genre of the vein we heard earlier. I would like to add more interaction to my stream as well. I miss it. I think it's fun. I think it breaks up it makes for a different experience, both for the viewers, but also for me as a content creator when I'm interacting with people as opposed to just solo streaming like this. For example, back when you're playing Magic, drafts with Joe or another streamer worked well as it brought out your and their personality. This has been so hit or miss. Like drafting with Joe is super fun. Drafting with Deathsy I think could have been fun if we'd done it a bit more till we got used to each other's stuff. Because it seemed a little like one person was just dictating to the other. And we draft with what was her name, Muffin? I think it was Muffin, right? And that was fucking entirely super negative. Like just like didn't enhance at all having that experience there, which was too bad. As it brought out your personality, added another level of interaction interest. And by the way, if I can ever think of a way to play games with Jorbs and Dolphin where we're on comms again, where it has some ability to interact and we can find a game that does that, I would love to do that again. I missed that. I just texted Kevin last night because I hadn't heard from him in a while and asked where he's going. I know he's left graduate school. I'm considering seeing if we can figure out another gaming system that we want to play with that group of people, Adam as well, and seeing if Kevin has the time or interest in doing that. I think he's writing a book right now. They can tell entertaining stories, you chat with them, and it adds to your great content. Yeah, I like that thought too. Doesn't it always hurt in some small way when anyone tells you that they like you because X? Nope, the opposite. I'm not trying to make, I don't know how to say this. First of all, the opinion of other people is of limited interest to me. I mostly don't. It's not that I don't care. I'm a human being. I take feedback and negative feedback like everyone else takes it to some degree. But I've been doing this a long time on the internet. I'm relatively confident in myself. I like myself, and I'm perpetually working to improve myself. So most of the time when I get feedback from that, I try to put it in that framework of that. So when someone says, I like you, I like your stuff because of X, or I like this portion of your stuff, that's a compliment, man. That's a pretty good thing to be hearing. If someone says, I don't like this about you, well, you need to evaluate that and what that is. Do you like that about you? If you don't like that about you, is it something you're working on changing? The ones that will probably hurt the most are the ones that are negative about you, that you're not doing anything about, that you also agree with. Those are the ones that are bothersome. But I don't have a lot of those. It's not that I'm perfect. It's that I'm attempting to change progressively for the better across the course of my life. This is the point of doing shit, right? You iterate these systems. You build routines that work for you. When a routine doesn't work, you reevaluate it and redo it in a way that's better for you. Have a workout routine that isn't working for you. Why isn't it working? How do you make that better? Like this type of stuff is how I think about things. And no, so that feedback's not negative at all for me. The ones that bother me the most are the ones that waste my time. Those are like, go play Civ 5. I'm like, fuck, I just wasted 2 seconds reading that. And there's nothing I can interact positively with that about. Nothing. All right, let's keep going on this. On a similar level, there were Civ 5 games where there was a certain level of TeamSpeak, which had a great atmosphere to them. The human versus human competitive aspect of the Civ 5 experience really added to the enjoyment of the videos. I agree. And I think that was a key point for your success. One of the things I really bummed out I could never end up doing was I wanted to do a rundown of all my opponents, like my regular opponents. It was a video I promised to make at one point and then never got around to, in part because it was difficult to do that without being a little shitty to people, and in part because it was difficult to do that without editing. And I didn't have an editor back then. I think you managed to get Darkest Dungeon and Battle Brothers to an expert enough level where you compensated for this through chat interaction, but you need great expertise in the game for this. I agree. It might not work well for a variety streamer. Yeah, that's the perpetual downside of variety streaming. You get good at something by spending time on it, and a variety streamer spends small amounts of time on a large variety of different games. So again, I think the format I want to build for the channel is a variety plus passion kind of thing, right? We sample a lot of games, and the ones we really like, we get really deep into. That's where I think we go forward with this. I think RPGs don't really bring out the human interaction element and don't have a good competitive nature to them, both of which are true, which might be why they've struggled. Potentially a co-op RPG or other campaign might work well, similar to your Roomba co-op campaigns, but without the training aspect. I found co-op Beyond Divinity super boring. Like super boring. It was just slower. It was like playing with it was like having it was like running the party system, but the party system was like 1/10 as fast. You could cultivate a community, maybe composed of a number of other chat members to play games with on a regular basis. This is something that I want to emulate from other streams that I like. I like that there are a number of other streams that regularly have people playing games together on that stream, generally like a couple people who are communicating and joking and having fun on Discord or whatever else it happens to be for their stuff. I think this is something that maybe we could build into. It's hard for single player games. There's no way to do that for single player games. But if we could get some good multiplayer games again, this might be something we could do. Thank you, Shiro, for gifting a sub. Did it work? Was that the guy? Hey, Casp1J, welcome to the channel. Sweet, man. Okay, you could cultivate a community, perhaps composed of a number of chat members to play games with on a regular basis. That was Civilization 5, by the way. Personally thinking of Pyron Flax's community, but I'm sure there are a number of others where the other community members' personality becomes part of the channel experience, similar to Drafts with Joe. Games like Solaris, EU4, I think HOI is, I can't remember what it stands for, but it's the World War II game, right? Hearts of Iron, 4, etc.